Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Newcastle Sports Podcast Network. And it's a weird one today. Newcastle don't play until Monday night. And if you'd normally be expected to get your match preview, you're not having one today. We're saving that for Monday morning. So what we thought we're going to have to do, I'm joined by my two erstwhile colleagues, Michael Graham-Slaw.
Hello.
And Mrs. Nicola Pringle Adams.
Hello.
Brackets, the very reverend. And we are going to preview this weekend's Premier League matches that are all going to be played before we beat West Ham on Monday night. And the reason I thought we could do that, one, we can have a little bit of a chat about the current status of the Premier League, which is very exciting. But also, we are currently sitting in 8th, but only 1 point off 3rd. And a lot of these games, both teams involved are involved in that sort of top 8 battle. So if we can kind of get a points prediction on these games, we might be able to work out just where we could expect the mighty Mags to be come 10 o'clock on Monday night. Mm-hmm. So, fortunately, because I love the maths of this, there are 9 other Premier League games, and we have 3 parts to this podcast. I think we should talk about 3 games in each part.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
How about that? How about that? No, part. Part is non-generic, so the part will do. Right. The first game I've got, I think might be dealt with fairly quickly. Leicester against Chelsea. Nicola.
Ooh. I mean, on paper, it should be a Chelsea win, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. It should be a Chelsea win on paper.
However, stranger things have happened, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea have just hit before the international break, they've just hit what I would say is probably a decent bit of form. So yeah, I'm going to go for a Chelsea win on that one. Are they sitting 3rd at the minute in the table?
They're 3rd at the moment.
Yeah.
They're sitting 3rd. They have 22 points, 1 point more than Newcastle have at the moment. Michael, well, how do you think that game will go?
Yeah, I think apologies. It's one of those where I think it's Leicester should score. I mean, they're a very good team at home. It's putting the ball in the back of the net, but Cole Palmer could probably come away with 5 goals in the game and no one would be surprised. So I think it'll be one of those. Chelsea haven't been in the best form, but probably win about 3-1.
Yeah, I think all 3 of us are going for a Chelsea win there. So if we gave Chelsea 3 points for that, but I'm quite hopeful that Leicester, maybe, as you say, with the strong home form traditionally, maybe they could hold Chelsea and take some points off them. But in reality, we're all going for a Chelsea win. We'll give them 3 points, which would keep them ahead of us on Monday night at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now, another interesting one, I think, Bournemouth against Brighton.
Ooh.
I think that might assist us. What do you think on that game, Michael?
Yeah, I think realistically, you've got 2 teams here who play very good football. Bournemouth, I think everyone's been, surprised at how good they actually play. Particularly after Solanke left, there was a lot of question of whether they could actually put the ball in the back of the net. That definitely hasn't been a problem. And then Brighton, they beat us on our home turf. One of the only teams to do so. So away from home, they're clearly not that bad, but they weren't very good in that game, in my opinion. So I'm going to say a draw. I think 1-1 draw. I can see both teams scoring. But what I would also say is Bournemouth it's Bournemouth at home, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've beaten Manchester City and Arsenal in their last 2 home games, I think.
Yeah, they're very strong at home.
So, what do you think, Nicola?
Well, we're talking about 2 sides that have recently beaten Man City. Brighton are coming off the back of their last game, Man City win. So this is going to be a tough one. I can see Brighton stealing this. I think both teams will score, but I think it's going to be a 2-1 Brighton, which I know we don't want to hear that, but I think it's going to be a 2-1 Brighton.
Okay, interesting, because I have a draw down as well, Michael. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth won this. as you say,
No.
super strong at home.
Very 50-50 game, isn't it?
It is. So let's play the devil's advocate if we can, and go for a draw on that match because both Michael and I picked that. That would give Brighton one extra point. They're the team ahead of Newcastle. That would move them up to 20 points. Just file that one away.
Yeah.
Now, this is another very interesting game as well. Crisis Club Arsenal at home to conquerors of Liverpool at Anfield, Nottingham Forest. I'm saying that to try and give us some hope that it's not a 4-0 Arsenal win. But yeah, I'll let you know what I think on this one. What about you, Nicola?
Oh, what we got? We're talking about a team that's sitting fourth, a team that's sitting fifth. Oh, I'm going for a draw.
Interesting.
We have hope.
Honestly, I'm not. I mean, on paper, to me, if you were to ask me on like a sort of a normal Premier League season, I mean, I'm talking because the top of the table is so tight. I would say on paper, Arsenal should win that, but Nottingham Forest, obviously I know we've just beaten them, but Nottingham Forest, they've got a good team, strong team on their day. I'm going to go for a 2-2. I feel like Arsenal are slipping a little bit.
What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I think the crisis comments really got to me because Arsenal fans do go on as if it's the end of the world. And realistically, there's only one player missing from their starting 11 who would actually start. So if they had our injuries last season, who knows what would have happened. But I
heard that I think Trossard got injured playing for Belgium, so I don't think he'll be playing on the weekend.
Oh, fair.
It's all right. They've only got Gabriel Martinelli in backup. He's only, a 60, 70 million pound player. I think they'll be fine.
It's crisis, Michael. They're in crisis.
I forget that a London crisis is different to one from up here in the northeast. We're a bit harder. But I think getting back to the game, I really wasn't impressed by Forest at all when they played against us. Then again, I wasn't impressed by Arsenal when they played against we either. But I think it'll be one of those games where Arsenal remind everyone why they're title contenders. And everyone's been saying, Forest are doing so well. You've got to remember, there's 2 points separate? Well, I think 4 points actually separating like 3rd and 15th or something like that. So 2 games time, they could quite easily be down bottom half once again. I don't really believe the hype with Forest, although maybe that's just because they were so poor against us. But I do have to go with a 3-0 Arsenal win there, in my opinion.
Wow. I put this down as a draw.
Me too. Come on.
Like you did, Nicola. Because I know we buried Forest in the second half, didn't we?
Yes.
However, it took us all of that first half. I know it was quite frustrating, but they did hold out pretty well. They are very away from home, super defensive team. They kept Liverpool at bay to win 1-0. They're a much better team at the moment away from home than they are at home because they get to play that low block and send Elanga and Hudson-Odoi up the other side with big Chris Wood, who's on fire in the middle. They can easily get that breakaway goal.
Yeah, 100%.
And Arsenal, as we saw, faced with low block playing against Newcastle, which we sat back and did, they had no idea how to get through it. If Saka can't dance past 2 or 3 players and put it in the top corner, they didn't really have very much. So, I would go for a draw. But either way, we're never going to get above Arsenal because they're already further ahead of us than us. I think, no, hang on, what have I got here?
No, Arsenal. Both Arsenal and Forest are
Arsenal
1 point ahead of us.
So on 19 points. So, I've got down here...
We'll take the draw.
A draw. That'll put them both on 20.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Good.
I'm happy to concede defeat here.
Good. So, let's just summarise those first 3 games. Chelsea are going to get maximum points at Leicester, but we've got Bournemouth and Brighton and Arsenal and Forest both drawing, which is going to put Brighton, Arsenal and Forest on 20 points. And of course, when we stuff West Ham, we'll have 21. So we're going to leap above all three of those. Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting. In fact, I'm going to have a sit down and mop my brow for a while whilst we hear from Nicola, who's going to do the Zencastr advert.
Thank you. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it is super easy to start a podcast. That sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you are ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
It's shorter, isn't it? Shorter and sweeter, let's say, than
Short
the
and
original
sweet.
one. Yes. Did you say ums, ahs, your nose, and 22 other? Did you? I didn't hear that. Anyway, no opportunity for a Tony the Tiger impression anymore, though, which is a shame. Let's get back to the footy. Right. Next on my list, I have got Aston Villa against Crystal Palace at home, which looks to me like a cast iron dead cert home win, and yet it's the sort of Premier League game where you then think, oh, Villa have lost the last two games. Palace have actually picked up slightly and have never ever been clattered by anybody yet this year. So I'm still going for a Villa win, but I'm not sure it's as clear cut as you would instinctively say. What do you think, Michael?
I'm inclined to agree. I think Palace's issues this season have been up front rather than at the back, although they haven't been great in either area. But we know exactly what can happen when you've got a blunt edge attack. I mean, we had Chris Wood up top for us for a very long time, and I can say that now we've played Forest. He'll score a hat-trick and win the next game, but it's fine. But yeah, Crystal Palace, they haven't really got that much in attack, particularly when not Elise, he's left. Now Elise is left and Eze isn't starting. So you're really stuck with Mateta, and we're seeing that, he had a good run of form last season, but he's not going to continue it this year. So I think Palace, particularly on the road, not really going to be able to do much against a strong Aston Villa side. They are a team that do have a little bit of a crisis in regards to injuries. They have a lot more than what Arsenal do for sure. Yeah. There's a few players out. So Villa probably won't be the usual all-out attack, very strong that we'll see. But I do think they'll ride an easy 2-0 win or something like that.
Yeah.
Nicola, anything to add to that, or are you going along with what Michael thinks?
Well, I am just going to chuck a spanner in the works, people.
Okay.
Crystal Palace did beat Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup on the 30th of October.
Was that at Aston Villa?
It was at Aston Villa.
Oh.
3-0 Palace. You've convinced me.
Get the correct...
They haven't had a great run since then. So
no, I was surprised to see Eze. Eze's only scored one goal this season so far. Yeah. And like Michael said, he's not even guaranteed starter, which seems crazy.
Mad.
Seems crazy.
Although they beat Aston Villa in the last round of the Carabao Cup, I probably am going to go for a Villa win. I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. Yeah, that's my prediction on that one. I think they'll win.
Okay, yes. Well, that's three of us going for a Villa win. Although none of us are going to be surprised if Palace don't pull something from
out the bag,
up their sleeve.
Yeah.
In relation to where that's going to put them in the table, you'd like this one, by the way. Not that I'm trying to make Newcastle finish as high as possible, but Villa beat Palace. They get 3 points, which will put them on to 21, which will be the same number of points as Newcastle. However, Villa's goal difference at the moment is 0, and Newcastle's is +2. Now, I think we're at least good for 3 goals against West Ham. So unless Villa beat Palace 6-0, we will remain above Villa on 21 points. Do you like the way that was convoluted enough? Right. I think it's logical as well.
I loved it.
I like the way you've conducted that, Iain. Very good.
Excellent. Now, I believe there's going to be some football played at this game. I'm not sure. Because it's at Goodison Park, the next one. Everton against Brentford. Not directly affecting any... Neither of these teams can jump above us if we beat West Ham. But, what do you think? I personally think that should be a Brentford win because I've just never seen anything from Everton in about 3 years that makes me think they're going to beat anybody.
Yeah, I'm still quite flabbergasted how Everton are still in the Premier League, to be honest. But anyway, we move. I'm going for a Brentford win because there's not one team I hate more other than Everton. And I'm not even sure why. I just really don't like them.
I know that lad we talked to on the Everton podcast. We did a crossover podcast with the guy, and it was his very first ever podcast. Can't remember what his name was. Lovely bloke though, really nice fella.
I mean, I don't not like him. I'm just don't really like Everton.
I do. I don't even know your name.
I just really don't like Everton. I can't even bring it to my mouth to say that I want Everton to win because I don't.
Okay.
I'm going for a Brentford 2-0.
Michael?
Oof. Well, Brentford haven't even picked up a point on the road this season.
Oh, I know.
I think they're one of the only... In fact, I think them and Southampton are the only teams that haven't picked up a point. But if you're going to go anywhere and pick up 3 points, it's Goodison Park. It's just a shame, we're not very good at it at times. We seem to fall short, maybe under the Pickford pressure. Maybe that's reversed. But, they are dire. And I think Brentford on the road, just as bad. So let's go for a drab 0-0.
Well, yeah, like that.
I was more convinced now after listening to what you've just told me, Michael, of 2 things. Firstly, this is written all over it. It's one of those good old-fashioned Sean Dyche 1-0 home wins.
Oh, no.
The sort that he gets half a dozen of every season, and that's what keeps Everton in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
But the second thing I'm convinced of now, given that you've told me that Brentford haven't even picked up a point, is that that's got to be Carabao Cup semi-final in the bag, has it not?
Absolutely. Hey! Come on. No, if they're going to win one away from home, it's probably going to end... In fact, no, I'm not going to say that.
Don't say that. Do not say that.
Right. Well, considering that's not a game that impacted where we were going to finish, we talked a lot about it. Yeah. What about Fulham at home to Wolves? Because this one does. Fulham are at the moment on 18 points, ahead of us on goal difference.
Wolves are bottom of the league, right?
I think so. They've got 2 points now.
I couldn't get them.
Second bottom. Southampton bottom, I think.
And who are they playing? Sorry, Fulham.
Fulham spanked us. I can't see anything other than a home win in this.
Yeah, I'm going for a Fulham win. Yeah, nothing more than to say other than that Fulham are going to win.
Yeah, I'd agree. Obviously, I like my stats, but with the expected points per game, if you put XG versus XG, Fulham would actually be second in the league. If they'd be above Man City if that came to fruition. Now, thankfully, it doesn't because that's not a Premier League I want to see. But yeah, Wolves, Fulham. There's only one winner. Fulham.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I think Fulham are on +4. So is it a narrow 1-0 win against Wolves to give us a chance of getting back above them on goal difference? They're 2 ahead of us, so we've got to beat West Ham by at least 2 goals more than they beat Wolves. It's
for the sake of getting us back in those Champions League places. Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, okay, 1-0 to Fulham.
1-0. Yeah. I think it'll be more.
Right. I thought this was going to be really relevant, and yet it isn't much because Tottenham are awful, aren't they? The Manchester City, second crisis club, Manchester City, 4 defeats in a row at home to Spurs, who you've got no idea what you're going to get with Spurs, have you?
No, because you don't know what you're going to get. Do you know, I'm going for a draw.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know it's probably controversial and probably not what most people would think, but I actually am going for a 2-2.
Nice one. Michael?
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
It blends in nicely with what I was going to say because I think actually it'll end up being a Tottenham win.
Oh,
I think City are in a position now where if they're not 1 or 2-0 up at half time against Tottenham, I think the fans might actually start to turn. I've been in the Etihad when they've not been going the right way, and the fans aren't great. While Big Ange, Tottenham Hotspur, I know they're not fantastic, but in those big games, they do score a lot of goals. And to be honest, I really like them to watch as a neutral. I'd hate to support them because they're so frustrating, but it's one of those games where I can see Tottenham getting 3 goals and maybe City get 2 or 1, maybe. But I think both teams will definitely score. And I think Spurs beat them in the Carabao Cup, actually. So
Yeah,
there we go.
Spurs did
Yeah,
beat them in the Carabao Cup,
they
but
did.
that was at Spurs, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
And City did have a weakened team. But my point still stands. I think
Got the
Spurs
point.
will come away with 3 points.
right. Spurs are below us, so it doesn't put them any higher than we are.
Mm.
But that would be a fabulous result for them to get their season back on track.
Yeah.
Losing at home to Ipswich is not it's not Champions
Oh, I
League
forgot about
qualifying form, is it? And City are too far ahead of us for us to catch them. So whatever happens in this game, I think we're going to end up, if we win our match against West Ham, we'll end up above Spurs and behind City, no matter what the score is.
Yeah.
With that, I think because that was 4 in that section, that I'm going to switch across to Michael and ask him to give us another message from our sponsors.
This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day.
Thank you very much, Michael. Southampton against Liverpool. Now, in my view,
Top
Liverpool are overachieving. I still don't know how they've won 9 of their first 11 games with the midfield that they've got, because I don't rate them. Maybe the 6th or 7th best midfield in the Premier League. Certainly not the one that starts running away with the title. However, I don't think they're going to quite wobble the way Tottenham did with exactly the same record at this stage last season. It certainly isn't going to start on Sunday afternoon. I think Liverpool will win this game.
Yeah.
Any dissenting voices?
If there's a game that Liverpool are going to lose, it's bonkers enough that it will be something like this. Like the Forest game, they could probably walk over Man City 3-0 and you wouldn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also say if they lose 1-0 to Southampton, you actually wouldn't be that surprised. I don't think it'll happen, but Liverpool will lose another away game against a really dreadful team this season, 100%.
Well, they're playing Newcastle on the 4th of December.
Dreadful. Yeah, actually, yeah. We're winning!
Yeah, that's just, I mean, you probably are right, Michael. I've seen them lose games where they shouldn't be losing with a decent midfield, never mind this one. But I think Liverpool, I honestly think Liverpool will hammer them. I think I'm going for about 4-0 there.
Right. Again, no impact on our position. Southampton won't jump above us, not even with 10 points for a win. And Liverpool are too far ahead for us to catch them. So the last game, this is an interesting game. And yet again, I don't think it has any impact on us because both these teams are below us in the league. Ipswich against Manchester United. This is Amarim's first game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And
it is, yeah.
Ipswich suddenly hearts swelled with pride and belief having won at Tottenham.
I would love to see Ipswich win this. I honestly would give money to watch Ipswich win this. Realistically, it probably should be a Man United win, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
However, can I be the one that says I think Ipswich are going to win?
Of course you can.
You can do whatever you like.
Honestly, I'm gonna go for a 1-0 Ipswich again.
Excellent. Because most of our listeners don't think you know what you're talking about anyway, so you're not.
Don't. So I'm just exactly that. I'm just gonna say that.
Sorry, Nicola.
No,
sorry.
Don't be silly.
You did set that up for me, Michael. I think Ipswich will play well. I think they'll be closer than we might have first guessed, but I think the Amarim arriving and the new manager bounce, there'll be a slight tweak in tactics. There'll be everybody playing to get into his first choice squad. I think Man U take this.
I mean, they probably will, but I just want to be different.
I respect it. But yeah, I think Man United, they improved under Van Nistelrooy,
Yeah.
and we saw how good they can be in the cup final against Man City. That just shows Eric Ten Hag, whether it was down to him or down to the players not liking him, was actually the problem. I think Amarim's going to come in, and we'll probably see a bounce like they had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he came in. Ultimately, they're still a team deserving to be in 13th place, but I do think they win this 2-0, and I do think by the end of the season, they're nowhere near.
Because they're below us or above us?
Oh, because they're 20 points away below.
Excellent. Good.
Right answer.
Scared me for a minute. That would be, right, so 3 points for Man U. Doesn't get them ahead of us if we beat West Ham. To finish off all of the matches, by the way, I'm assuming that you're with me, that we are 2, 3, even 4 goals better than West Ham at home on a bouncing Monday night under the lights. Are you with me on that?
Yeah.
I would agree with 2. 3 might be a stretch. 4, well, it just depends on what Newcastle United turn up.
Well, I think, who was it pointed out that you, Mr. Statman, it was you, said that we've scored 4 against West Ham in 3 of the last 4 games we've had at St James's Park.
Was it 3? No, I think it was 3 of the last 4 games we've had after the international break. We've scored 4.
Right.
We've scored 11 goals in the last 3 games against West Ham.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
11 in 3 games. So it's not going to be 4.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3 2/3.
3-1.
Yeah.
3 2/3, 1.
3
okay.
And 2 disallowed.
Right. Look. I've got the updated table as it would be at 10 o'clock on Monday night.
Oh.
Yeah, Liverpool still at the top with 31 points.
Yeah.
Manchester City, because we're already giving them a draw, aren't we? Did we decide?
I'm content with the draw, yeah.
Yeah.
They will be second with 24 points. Liverpool already 7 points ahead. Somebody's got to beat them. In third place, Chelsea with 22 points. Now, let's be honest. It's either Newcastle or Fulham, depending on whether we catch the goal difference up, that will be fourth. And obviously the other team will be behind them. Villa with 21, and we have 21 points. Villa will have 21 points in 6th. And then that will be amazing to see that Arsenal will be 7th, Forest will be 8th, and Brighton will be in 9th place.
Maybe Arsenal do have a crisis.
Oh, there. Yeah.
Well,
how can you go from winning the league, winning the league contenders to not?
If you remember, when we had that crossover with the Arsenal boys, I made them laugh by my first question being, is Arsenal a club in crisis? And then they went and lost at Newcastle. So I don't think it's, for Arsenal, it is a terrible run of results. And
it is.
Yeah.
Odegaard is back in the squad. Whether he can manage a whole game or not, I'm not sure. But it doesn't help. It doesn't help to have someone like Trossard drop out because they've not got a massive squad.
No,
not at all.
It's not a Chelsea squad to choose from. So that's quite exciting. Would you be happy with us in a Champions League place at 10 o'clock on Monday night?
Absolutely.
I'd be absolutely delighted.
Be great, wouldn't
Happy
it?
with that.
And then what have we got? We've got Crystal Palace away. We've got Leicester at home.
Yep.
6 points.
Or is it Crystal Palace away and Liverpool at home? Yeah.
Crystal Palace away, Liverpool at home, Brentford away.
Then Leicester at home. I think.
No, Brentford's at home, isn't it?
Brentford's away. The cup game's the one at home.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm getting confused. Yeah. Sorry.
Now, I'm fed up of hearing, this is just, we've done our half an hour, right? Contractors are obligated, 30 minutes is over, so we can just... I am fed up to the back teeth of listening to pundits on TalkSport, on YouTube channels, wondering whether Newcastle are going to be able to mount a challenge for Europe and everybody is putting us 6th, 7th. I don't think we're miles off second here. Not if Arsenal keep going the way they're going. Not if City keep going the way we're going. Why is this not a season like the season when Leicester won it even? And let's watch Liverpool do a Tottenham and fall to pieces when that terrible midfield is found out.
Yeah, I think the scary thing is that imagine if we beat Brighton and, where we should have realistically, the Everton game we should have won. That's 5 additional points on there. We're right in it. But I think when you look at some of the performances we had at the start of the season, that's what everyone sees. Everyone pays attention to games at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Everyone watches Match of the Day and sees, 10 men Newcastle struggled against Southampton, and people think, well, they're not going to get anywhere. You see the results, that further backs that up. And, people haven't seen the team that dismantled Chelsea in the Cup, made Arsenal look like AFC Wimbledon, and then, dismantled the informed team in the world, apparently, in Nottingham Forest. So I generally think we could go on to have a really good season if we have a good December, and we could get, I'm not saying we'll finish 3rd or 2nd, but top 4, 100% is on this season. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what we think, folks. That's what we think. And if you've listened this far, I'm sure it's what you're thinking as well. So we're all together. Excellent. Nicola, Michael, thank you very much for joining me for this rather oddball podcast. I quite enjoyed it, actually.
I did.
It was really good.
We will be back on Monday morning with the preview for the big game on Monday night against West Ham. 3-1 if you're looking for a tip on a correct score. See you then.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.